This is John Moses Browning's model of 1911 semi-automatic pistol. For basic operation, see my earlier video, Basic Firearms Tutorial Number 1. This video will demonstrate how to disassemble the 1911 for cleaning and maintenance. First, as with any firearm, ensure all ammunition has been removed from the weapon. This video presumes you already know how to do this. My earlier video illustrates the process. This video presumes the weapon is configured with a conventional, original-style recoil spring plug and guide. Instructions for a full-length guide rod may vary depending on the construction of the rod. Some are two-piece and must be unscrewed. Some of these require a hex wrench. After the weapon has been cleared, close the slide. Always keep the weapon pointed in a safe direction and your fingers away from the trigger. There is no reason to touch the trigger during basic disassembly or reassembly of the 1911. With the hammer at full cock, engage the manual safety. This will lock the slide closed. Rotate the weapon muzzle up. Hook your index finger in the front of the trigger guard. Press down on the recoil spring plug with your thumb. Make sure you have a firm grip. If spring pressure is suddenly released, the plug may shoot out, potentially causing damage or injury. While carefully holding the plug depressed, rotate the barrel bushing clockwise from this perspective. I like to rest the bushing on the step of the plug to reposition my fingers. Carefully maintaining pressure on the plug, continue rotating the bushing until the plug is released. The plug and spring can then be removed forward. Release the manual safety to unlock the slide. Move the slide rearward until the slide lock lever lines up with the takedown notch. You may have to jiggle the assembly to get the guide rod out of the way. When the takedown notch is lined up, the slide lock lever is pushed out from right to left. There is usually a small protrusion on the right side to get it started. An extended lever like this may be grasped and pulled from the left side. In very tightly fitted weapons, a non-marring tool may be required to begin the motion. The slide and barrel group may then be removed from the frame by sliding forward. Depending on tolerances, you may have to jiggle or invert the weapon. Never force any step of disassembly. The conventional guide rod easily falls out. After removing the slide, re-engage the manual safety to prevent accidentally dropping the hammer, which may cause internal damage. The frame may now be cleaned without further disassembly, though you may want to remove the stock panels to prevent them being damaged by solvents. Their removal and replacement is obvious. Invert the slide and barrel group. Rotate the barrel bushing counterclockwise, viewed from the front. If tightly fitted, you may want to leave the bushing on the barrel instead of removing it separately. There is a lug on the bushing which keeps it locked into the slide, and this lug is what's being rotated to release the bushing. With the slide inverted, flip the toggle link forward so it lies parallel to the barrel. The barrel and bushing may then be removed through the front of the slide. You will have to separate the barrel from its locking lugs inside the slide. The barrel and slide may now be cleaned separately. Further disassembly of the slide, while not difficult, is not necessary for basic cleaning and will not be covered in this video. After cleaning, to reassemble, insert the barrel through the front of the slide. If the barrel bushing was removed, reinstall it and rotate it clockwise to retain it in the slide. Note how the barrel drops into its locking lugs in the slide. Note the position of the lug on the barrel bushing. Place the recoil spring guide along the inverted underside of the barrel inside the front of the slide. Note the contour of the flange on the recoil spring guide. Adjust the toggle link so its hole aligns with the curvature of the lower barrel lug. This will aid insertion of the slide lock lever. Depending on tolerances and wear, the toggle link may shift no matter what you do. Release the manual safety and return the slide to the frame. Looking through the hole in the frame, watch for the toggle link to align. Insert the slide lock lever. It must go through the hole in the toggle link. Once the pin is inserted, the slide can be moved more finely to align the takedown notch to allow the lever to be fully inserted. If your pistol is finally finished, take extra care to not mar the frame when reinserting the slide lock lever. It must go past the forward plunger to settle into place. This is an inexpensive Philippine copy and was already marred when I purchased it used. Now the slide can be moved fully forward. You may have to jiggle the weapon to get the guide rod to settle correctly. With the slide forward, re-engage the manual safety to lock it closed. The recoil spring and plug can then be reinserted with the guide rod going inside the spring by feel. Again, hook your index finger into the front of the trigger guard and compress the recoil spring and plug with your thumb. Maintain careful control. Rotate the bushing counterclockwise until the plug locks into place. While ensuring the weapon is empty of ammunition and is pointed in a safe direction, perform a dry function test to ensure all parts have been correctly assembled. This should conclude the basic disassembly and reassembly of the 1911. For detailed disassembly, instructions can be found, among other sources, in the Gun Digest Book of Firearms Assembly Disassembly Part 1 Automatic Pistols. Exploded parts diagrams are available on many internet sites and in owner's manuals, which can be downloaded free from several manufacturers' websites.